Hi, how are you? This is Sandstorm here, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4. I've changed the theme of today's video a bit for the holiday season, because I would like to wish that everyone watching has a safe, splendid holiday and a very happy new year.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!
We've all been working very hard to get through our current situation, and I wish that everyone's holiday season be even more merry and safe than usual. It certainly does feel like a white Christmas, as I am recording this, as I am been getting some amazing weather, and by amazing, I mean that it has been snowing for hours, the roads are frosted, a thick sheet of snow, and a storm has been throwing hail at my window quite harshly. If my microphone picks all this up, I apologize. I'm sure this time of year there are people getting much worse, much better weather than I am. But without further ado, in today's episode, we will be moving on to part 2 of the Monarchist trio, someplace that definitely got snow, Austria-Hungary. Today I will show you how to use exploits to form Austria-Hungary definitively by 1939. Can do it a bit quicker, but it depends on some other things going right. We will be using all DLC up to and including Battle for the Bosporus, and with no mods enabled. So we're going to start a new single player game in the 1936 scenario. Today we're going to be playing as Hungary, because their focus tree allows us to take the decisions to reform the Austro-Hungarian Empire, using our usual start, no Iron Man, historical AI focuses, and regular difficulty. So to begin as Hungary, we're going to organize all of our divisions into one army and place them on the border with Austria. We're going to need to use some scare tactics to annex them into our empire soon enough, and having some troops along the border can do just that. For our research, we're going to get 1918 support equipment. We're going to get paratroopers as usual. And we're going to get the mass assault doctrine. And with our free civilian factories, we're going to fortify this airport here. It's going to be very crucial to our success. We're also going to move all of our planes to that airport, and I'm going to set the reinforce limit on this fighter stack up to 400. And because of this, we're going to place 4 on all of our remaining factories on fighters. And we're going to do our first focus, balanced budget. We're going to be going down this side of the tree here, which is, as you can see, restoration of Austria-Hungary. This first focus is going to give us 120 political power. Very nice for hiring our first advisor. We're also going to create an agency. We'll call this the Royal Intelligence Society. Take this nice snake right here. And let's create the agency. Now let's set time up to 5 times speed and unpause. It has been 30 days and our agency has just been created. What I'm going to do is do 5 upgrades, one after the other, which takes 30 days to complete. We're going to do interrogation techniques. We're going to do this upgrade. We're going to do economy civilian. We're going to do army department, and then we're going to do naval department. These are the most useful ones I can think of. We don't actually need these upgrades. It's just that taking 5 upgrades will give us an extra free operative slot. Our first operative slot has been unlocked by this symbol telling us right here. So we're going to click here to recruit an operative. These operatives don't have many traits, but you usually want to go with the seducer because they're harder to catch, and they're best for what we want to be doing with our operatives. So we're going to take this guy right here and set up an intel network in the United Kingdom up in Scotland. We've completed our national focus balanced budget. Let's go down the next Austro-Hungarian focus, which will be strengthen the monarchists. Now we have enough political power to modify our advisors, so we really need a lot of political power. Our best long-term investment is going to be a silent workhorse. We've completed our national focus to strengthen the monarchists. Let's take our next focus, which is going to be elect a king. You may also notice we're not going to be spending any political power because we need to stockpile it later to change ideologies. We just completed our final agency upgrade, We don't need any more right now. So what we're going to do is get our next operative slot unlocked, and in 28 days we will be able to recruit another free operative. We have completed our national focus. Elect a king. Let's invite the Habsburg prince. And we now have a new operative ready. And we got a seducer. Look at that. Now that we have 2 operatives, we can prepare a collaboration government. So we will assign these 2 operatives to commence when ready, automatically repeat. As soon as we prepare, we will see all the deficit we're in. If you set your priorities, you can have all of your equipment go to operations first, which is a good idea for what we're doing right now. It might also be prudent to take a factory off fighters and onto infantry equipment so that we can get this operation underway as soon as possible. We've completed our focus. Invite the Habsburg prince. We are now no longer a kingdom in name only, and we're going to demand a referendum from Austria. We're going to also improve relations and make sure you have your army along this border, as this will increase the chances that they will accept. We've completed the national focus, demand a referendum, and the referendum has succeeded. If this does not succeed, you might have to start over, because we kind of banked this whole thing on this referendum succeeding. But if you don't mess about with your ideologies, you improve your relations with Austria all the way to 100, which we are at, then it should go. So let's say excellent. We've now gotten everything from Austria. Our next national focus is going to be the restoration of Austria-Hungary. Now, we do need to go fascist to restore the Austro-Hungarian Empire, as Austria-Hungary is the monarchist one, and it is easier to do a lot of things like restore the whole empire while fascist. So let's reassign these divisions, put one in a new army. What we're going to do is set up something I like to call the Habsburg line. We're going to take this army here with one division and set up this line all along this river line and this river line, because soon we are going to be at war with both Romania and Yugoslavia. This is the best way to hold. These other 24 are going to fall back inside this airport, which we are fortifying as we speak. Got some free military factories. Let's set one on infantry equipment. Also going to change this interwar fighter over to a transport plane, as we're going to need to start repairing a massive paradrop. We also need to go fascist. So, an ideology change is usually best done over time, but Austria doesn't really accept if you mess about with your ideology. So, let's get a political advisor, fascist demagogue. We do have 452 political power right now, so it should not be an issue. And we're next going to do anti-democratic raids. Since we cannot ban democracy, you have to be at less than 20% support. Democracy is at 24% support. So once these raids are complete, we will be ready to ban democracy. What we can also do is open up political discourse, because we're going to have to do this anyway. May as well do it now before we forget. We've completed the national focus, restoration of Austria-Hungary. We are like a phoenix from the ashes. Now we're not going to go protect Czechoslovakia, because that has a low chance of success for what we need it to do. There is a specific time when we want to do that. What we're going to do right now is request rearmament. We do secret rearmament, then war games, and then that gets us down to Bled Agreement, which will get rid of the Treaty of Trianon, which says some things right here, but the real issue is that we can't change any of our conscription law, economy law, but these two are the real big ones, so it's very detrimental not being able to increase conscription or your civilian economy. So democracy support has just reached 19.99%, which is enough for us to go into decisions. Ban democratic parties. Now we have 43% support of fascism. Let's unpause a bit because there is a glitch. Let's just wait a few days, go back into the decisions section, Under fascism on the rise, you discredit the government, then you can immediately hold a referendum. Gain minus 5% base stability. Since we reformed Austria-Hungary, we are now known as the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and we can restore the Austro-Hungarian Empire, but we don't own everything we need. We're now a fascist, and it is time we justify some war goals. Our first war goal is going to be on Yugoslavia. They're guaranteed by Czechoslovakia and Romania, but don't worry. Czechoslovakia is doing strategic decisions, which leads them down to trust in the West, which lets them abandon their guarantee on Yugoslavia. Romania won't abandon their guarantee, but that is not a problem because we want to also fight Romania, because we need some of their land over here. This will take 240 days, 7% world tension, shouldn't put you over the 25% threshold of guarantees. We've got a few factories available. Our transport plan has been completed, meaning we can switch back to our fighter production. And we should get working on some more weapons production here. For civilian factories, we can upgrade these forts to level 2. After that, it's not really going to be necessary to do anything else because we're not going to be at war for that long. We just need to stave off the initial invasion around the airport. There's been an anarchist uprising in the Civil War, and it's not going to be worth developing this part of the country that's not behind the Habsburg line. So we'll build a civilian factory in this part of the country. We will be using our civilian factories again in a minute to do more collaboration governments, which is going to be finished very shortly. In one day, collaboration government has completed. Our agent has been forced into hiding. This is fine as long as it's not captured, because that means I'll have to rescue him. He'll get out on his own. Let's see, he will get out on his own in 45 days. That's nothing. We were not able to automatically repeat because you need at least 50% intel network. Since we only had 2 operatives, we had to put them both on the collaboration government. So we're going to put this second operative who did not get captured back in the same spot to build up the intel network, while our other agent has been forced into hiding. Once he gets out, we'll do another collaboration government. We've completed secret rearmament. Next focus is going to be war games. That will give us 25 army experience, which will allow us to edit our division templates. This is going to be very helpful for what we plan to do next. We now have 156 political power. For our last political advisor, we're going to hire the elusive gentleman so that we can have 2 operatives doing collaboration governments while a third operative is maintaining the intel network. And this now gives us that third operative slot unlocked. As soon as we get 50% intel strength, we will do another collaboration government, increasing collaboration in the United Kingdom by 30%. Our national focus war games has just been completed. Let's go down to Bled Agreement so we can get rid of the Treaty of Trianon. Now we have enough army XP. We have 25. We only need 5 really, but it's easier to do this than to train our troops. So we need to go here, Division Designer, create an empty template, put the classic Sandstorm El Salvador 1 Battalion Paratrooper. This is going to be our template that retakes the Empire. Save this. Switch all 24 of our divisions to this. And now we have loads of manpower and equipment. So we're going to use that to train 10 new infantry divisions for the Habsburg line. So let's shift click to add 5, and we have plenty of equipment. We only really need 10 though. And we can use that other equipment for collaboration governments. Our intel network has reached 50% strength, which is what we need. To initiate a new collaboration government, be sure to take everyone except the person on the network. That's going to be this operative right there. We'll take the other 2 who are just on subversive attack defense. Commence when ready and automatically repeat. We should have all the equipment except for the factory production. That's great. we've completed our national focus bled agreement, meaning it's time to now go down the industry tree. We could use a little bit of industrial aid. Now unpause. And Romania has accepted. Treaty of Trianon National Spirit has been replaced with bled agreement. Now the bled agreement doesn't actually give us anything, but it actually gives us the ability to change our laws. This is amazing. So, what we want to do now is go to war economy. Because right now, all of our factories are, they were being busted on consumer goods, but now we have 16 factories available for our collaboration government. This should make it take a lot less time. See, look, only 1 month for the factory work now. Our justification for conquering Yugoslavia is complete. Let's set our paratrooper orders. We will first be going to Yugoslavia, and then we will be going to Romania, because I believe that is the easiest order of operation. We're going to be landing paratroopers along their front line first, so that they can't retreat back into our landing points once we have landed further inland. We have enough to do 1 paratrooper for each victory point on Yugoslavia, and you need to capture basically all of them if you're going to have them capitulate, because they do have a lot of non-victory point land as well. Now don't worry, some of them are going through the floor here. They are going to hit their targets. It's just an odd graphical glitch, I believe, since there are some mountains in this area, and this tile is very low on the coastline compared to them. So let's slow it on down to 3 speed. We're going to set some orders for our planes. We have 238 fighters. This is really where we need them for. Set them out in the northern Balkans, because Romania and sometimes Yugoslavia, if they can get their planes out quick enough, will go to the northern Balkans, because this is where all the fighting is going to be around here, trying to bust the Habsburg line. So if we have planes out, even if they put their planes out, we'll still be able to have 75% air supremacy, and we need to hold this airport. The range is very good. It's right at the center of the air zone. So let's unpause, 3 speed, activate the paradrop, and declare war. Now, since some of our paratroopers may have failed, what we want to do is just take some from our remaining 8 and reinforce some of these provinces. Like this one right here somehow got taken, so let's just get that one right back. There's surrender progress at 98%. We're only missing 2 now, so we'll just wait a few minutes, make sure all their troops empty out. We will go into this tile. And there goes Yugoslavia. Let's take historic provinces, trying to keep the borders historical. We'll be taking Slovenia, Croatia, Dalmatia, Herzegovina, Bosnia, Vojvodina, and West Banat. Now, for some reason, you can only do this on the first turn. You can liberate Serbia on the second turn, but you can only satellite Serbia on the first turn. So let's satellite Serbia, and we will also satellite the Republic of Montenegro. Get these historic nations back here in the Balkans, especially for recreating like early 1900s borders. So let's end the turn. We've taken all that we need to. Let's give Macedonia back to Serbia. One problem, it's going to take a load of war score for them to do it, but that is no issue because we are the only one in this peace conference. So let's give Macedonia to Serbia. There we go. We took 7 states. Yugoslavia was annexed, and people were puppeted. What we need to do now is set a fallback line back in the airport, railroad all of our paratroopers back towards the airfield. They're still not able to bust this tile, so we should be fine, even though they are attacking it. And we got some free civilian factories. Well, that's great. Let's build up some of these provinces over here where Romania will never get to. I also need to make sure our paratroopers are railroading. Time is of the essence here. And our airport is starting to fail, so let's bring in some infantry divisions from the Habsburg line. Even though we are being attacked, I think we can still bust out into a plane and do a paradrop. So I'm going to set some paradrop orders in a similar fashion from Yugoslavia for Romania. Alright, our paratroopers orders have been set, and we're going to activate the orders. And Romania has capitulated. Let's just get to the peace conference. Alright, we're going to be going with the historical borders on this one again. We actually have to take the Bukovina, although it is not required in the Hearts of Iron 4 version of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. There are a few provinces that aren't required because they can be problem provinces. I assume most people doing this would be taking a slower approach to the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and the Soviet Union would have already taken the Bukovina when they justified take Bessarabia from Romania. It's just easier for the game, but we will be sticking to historical borders strictly. So we will do as best as we can. We'll be taking all of Transylvania, Christiana, and Banat. And we will puppet the rest of Romania. Let's end the turn, and we're done. Now, we haven't been building up all that collaboration in the United Kingdom for nothing. We need to prepare for a war against the Allies. And we only really need one more war, if it's a big enough war, which it will be, to complete the rest of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. The best way to do this is to justify on the small nation of Albania. It's going to take us 250 days until our justification is complete. We also have some free military factories. We'll keep producing fighters, but we'll also begin a new line of artillery. We're justifying on Albania because Italy is guaranteeing Albania, so we're going to be doing the classic Sandstorm Order 66 of Italy, so we need to ask Italy for military access. We also need to join the Axis. I've set up some orders for our divisions. We've got the Italian garrison for the Order 66, and then we've got 9 paratroopers over here for the classic Sandstorm French paradrop. First off, we have national focus. We're going to do reintegrate the railroads next. We're going to switch all of our garrison divisions on Italy into infantry, so that they will be more effective in combat than just being our tiny paratrooper divisions. Although for these paratroopers up here, they're going to stay as paratroopers. And we should probably move our transport plane over. Now we are setting up here for maneuvers against the Allies, even though we are attacking Albania, because the Allies are now guaranteeing Albania, along with Denmark, who will also join the Allies. I guess we can get a quick paradrop from Germany, who we are now in the Axis with, over into Denmark to make them take some war participation. If we completed our collaboration government in the United Kingdom, we now have 60% collaboration. Let's immediately begin a new one. We should have plenty of equipment taken from the enemies of our last war. Not have to go too far to deficit. Yeah, we're immediately good on the equipment, just waiting for the factory's production. We've finished to reintegrate the railroads. Let's go down to support domestic industry. Now it's getting into 1938, so we need to watch Germany. We do very closely watch their manpower, because after Army Innovations 2 on historical, they will try to do Domain Sudetenland. But I don't believe they have enough manpower in the field. They need 725,000 manpower in the field to do demand Sudetenland. And the intel ledger tells us they have 604,000. That's still pretty high manpower, especially if you're playing as Hungary for Germany to have. But once they get 725,000 manpower, they're going to do that focus. When they do that focus, we need to do protect Czechoslovakia, because Czechoslovakia will always accept. I'll explain more later when we start actually doing the focus. We also have enough political power to change our laws. So we're going to change our conscription law to volunteer only since we are out of manpower. I'm training divisions from Romania, and Romania will usually train divisions on their own and then give them to you, which is very nice. But they don't appear to have been doing that recently for me. We need 18 divisions for the Italian Order 66, which is going to be 18 right there, and then we'll put the remaining few on the border here with Zara, because this is not a core Italian province, and when Italy capitulates, this piece of land will not fall to us. We'll have to take it ourselves. We've completed the national focus, support domestic industry. Let's do support urbanization, and before doing every focus, we should check Germany's manpower in the field. It's still only 627,000, but they're within 100,000 of being able to do the Sudetenland. We've now got enough political power to change our conscription law again. Let's go up to limited conscription, since we are still a little bit low on manpower. Nice thing is that Romania has kept giving us divisions, so we now have a stack of 20 waiting on this non-core Italian province. And we've completed support urbanization. Let's go for Institute for Industrial Techniques. Again, let's check Germany's manpower in the field. They're doing extra research slot, which means they don't have enough manpower. Now they're doing other focuses that don't have manpower limits, like claiming Memel, because there is a set order of focuses, and they'll bypass the ones that they can't get to. The ones that are behind that manpower in the field block. Our justification for conquering Albania is complete. Looks like we got very lucky. I see that Naples is unguarded by Italy, along with a few other provinces, but there is a way for us to shuffle some of these Italian troops around. If we justify war goal on Italy, it will fully comprehend that we're about to declare war on Italy, because they might partially understand that even though they guarantee Albania that they're going to be at war with us, that's obviously shown by the amount of troops they have on our border, but they will move around some more troops to some different places, and within the midst of confusion, it's usually the best time to declare war because they'll have most of their troops outside of the victory points. Let's see what we can get. Usually they move out of this province here and this province. It looks like that's happening. Already left this province, and they're about to leave the straits here. It can often be very hard to get over these straits, so they're usually well defended. But if you order 66 them while no one's there, no one will know any better. Very rarely they leave Rome, but if you get them to exit Rome, it's basically an instant capitulation. Now we got to be careful because this division is probably going here. So once they leave Naples, we should now declare war. Although first we have some unassigned divisions. Look at that Romania, best puppet ever. Alright, let's activate the French pair drop orders, because France is in the Allies and they're also guaranteeing Albania. So let's declare war. Do not need to call our allies, because Germany will just steal some stuff from the peace conference. Take it down to 3 speed and let's see how it goes. Free France has just capitulated, and Italy is at 98%, although it looks like they're about to start retaking some victory points, which might mean that we have a longer war against Italy. Let's see what we can do. And Italy has capitulated. Things are going very well. Let me reassign the troops and get back to you once I've done that. Alright, I seem to have reassigned the troops in an apt manner. We've got loads of factories because we control 2 European majors. Let's get some more factories on infantry equipment and on artillery. And we now have a brief period where we can build ships. What I'm going to do is request a license production from Germany to get an early submarine hull. They will accept since it's already 1938, and they gave us the submarine. So let's set all of our dockyards to produce submarines, and we might be able to get a few ships out. If you're going to play this game on as Austria-Hungary, it can be very useful to have a navy, even if it's just a few ships, so you can get out and naval invade, or do the thing where I like to do, where we hit some other people in a faction that aren't majors, just so we can get them in the peace conference. Speaking of that, we're going to justify a war goal on Poland. Alright, I made a mistake. I forgot to stop justifying on Italy. And we can't actually stop justifying at this point. So justification on Poland is going to take 120 days. So let's send the justification immediately. Let's first get to Denmark and see if we can get them to take a few casualties, as they are in the war against us and they are also in the Allies. It can be beneficial not actually to capitulate Denmark, because their capitulation while in the Allies spawns Iceland, meaning you'd have to fight Iceland to take them over. But if Denmark capitulates at the same time as the United Kingdom, because they're not a major in the Allies, then Iceland and all of Denmark's overseas territories will be fair game at the peace conference. We've completed our national focus, so we're going to do this national focus next while we wait for Germany to get enough manpower in the field. They currently have 689,000. Got to keep a close eye on this. They are less than 50,000 away. Also, the best way to get the British off their island is to open as many stagnant fronts as you can. For example, right here, we don't actually want to push the tile. We had the opportunity to take the port, but the more divisions they funnel out via naval invasions and putting divisions here in Albania and things like that, probably up here in Denmark as well, they'll go help out, then the less divisions they'll have on garrison in the United Kingdom, which is always good. So Germany's manpower is going up very quickly. Now they're at 734,000 manpower. So what we want to do is cancel our focus right before it ends, because we don't really need the bonuses. They're very nice, but we could really use Czechoslovakia. If we go to protect Czechoslovakia and then improve relations with them, we don't really have an army to spare. As you can see, we are barely holding on. We're doing all that we can to prevent Italian decapitulation, but I believe a nation has to have 90% of their victory points and hold their capital to decapitulate, and we haven't got that much longer left on Poland. Yes, we've only got about 30 days or so. We have to be at war with Poland for 1 week to update the casualties before we paradrop into the United Kingdom. But this is taking so many British divisions. There's 3 down here. There's at least 20 in this whole thing. We're training up some new divisions though, so that we can now hopefully hold this Italian front and make sure that Italy does not decapitulate. Oh my goodness, our justification is complete on Poland. Things are not exactly looking great, but all majors except the United Kingdom have capitulated. So we should be all good to declare war on Poland once our troops are in position. We'll try and hold out as long as we can, because all the remaining garrison in the United Kingdom will be sent to Poland, I believe. So let's see what happens. Going to declare war on Poland. Let's activate our order to make sure they take some casualties. I'm pretty sure we might capitulate if we hold out for too much longer. There are a lot of naval invasions going on right now, especially one kind of close to our paradrop site. But I believe that was troops leaving the British Isles. So we should be all good for a paradrop into British Isles. Alright, we're going to try and hold out another week. Because if we can, I think Poland will be included in the peace conferences. These are very dire circumstances, and they are moving very quickly, although we are on 5 speed. But we should not capitulate until they take Budapest at least. We are about halfway to capitulation. Alright, let's begin the paradrop. I think Poland has taken enough casualties. We're in quite a precarious situation, but it appears that's how many of these exploits work. I see a lot of French divisions out here, which means they're not protecting the British Isles. Should be optimal scenario for a paradrop. You have to be very careful with the United Kingdom planes. Set out a bait division right in this tile because the United Kingdom likes to railroad their divisions. I'm thinking they might railroad their divisions out of the garrison and onto that tile. Let's see what we get. The United Kingdom has now capitulated, although we are also at 87% of the way. I hope they don't capitulate us, although I would be curious to see what happens if both sides capitulate on the same day. Maybe it favors the player. I don't know. But anyway, let's just be happy we got to a peace conference, and we got Poland. We got everyone in the peace conference. First, let's take all of the territory we need. Take South Tyrol, Istria, and Zara. End the turn. And we have basically reformed the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Once our focus finishes for Czechoslovakia, we will have gotten everything that we need. Now, let's puppet the rest to keep the borders mostly historical. And I'll take all of the overseas colonies for myself. We're going to puppet Poland, which is actually against anything that the Austro-Hungarian Empire or the German and Russian Empire would do, because they're trying to divide the Polish people historically. Quick history lesson with Sandstorm. It was keeping any major Polish liberation movement from ever occurring. So Polish puppet state would not be realistic, but then again, this is not exactly realistic either. And that's it. We are finished. I think I've created a fair peace conference. We puppeted on the nations who we do not need territory directly from. Peace conference is over. And we have taken 125 states and puppeted loads of people. Our army is in no way ready to fight another war. But we have basically reformed the empire. The only thing left is Czechoslovakia. So let me create a huge army group and just put all of my divisions along their border. We also got a submarine. That is fantastic. We've completed our national focus, and Bohemia returns to the crown. We've now annexed Czechoslovakia. I decided to do this instead of add them in the war, which you can do, because they have an army of 26 divisions. They have pretty good tanks too, and they really help out your army, which is very weakened after this huge war against all of the allies and Italy. Czechoslovakia will always accept our annexation request because they are being justified on by the Germans from demand Sudetenland. And if we were to unpause real quick here, Germany will now ask us for the Sudetenland, and this is why it's very important to be fascist. Being the Austro-Hungarian Empire makes it a little bit more entertaining and exciting, because it allows you not to have to worry about a huge war with Germany straight away, because we don't need to give them this territory now. We can let them have their war if they dare. Although they can't declare war on us. They cannot have their war because we're in the same faction. And since we now own all of the land we need, we can reintegrate the empire, give us cores on everything, and we now have no issues with manpower. We're kind of unstoppable at this point because we have 125 factories, and we can almost take over the Axis if we've deployed a few thousand more manpower to the fields. We're now in a pretty good spot. We're allied to Germany, and we bypassed a load of national focuses. Basically done the Austro-Hungarian tree. There's only 2 focuses left, but they just give us claims on things we already have, which is why we cannot do them. We keep going down the industry, and maybe help Germany invade the Soviet Union, but you've already seen me do all that in the German Empire episode and in other Hearts of Iron 4 playthroughs. So this part of the series is only going to be a 1 episode part. So I hope you did enjoy. Next part will be the Ottoman Empire. That is a little bit less exploit prone since it's a slower gameplay, and I don't exactly like the Turkish focus tree as much because of that, but I will give it a try nonetheless, and I'll see if we can get any good exploits going for that. But with enough exploits, you can make anything possible. Just remember that and you will achieve your dreams. So I'll see you in the next part. Once again, happy holidays and enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.